just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for wanna be together, be together? Babe, I want your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters. I got feelings about you. Oh yeah. Butterflies every time I'm with you. Oh yeah. I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, I don't wanna push you farther away, no. I don't wanna play no games. I just wanna call, see if we're okay, babe. All I wanna ask you is, are you down for love? Are you up for wanna be together, be together? Babe, I want your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters, all that matters. Are you down for love? Are you up for wanna be together, be together? Babe, I want your love, your love. I'll be the one you trust. You're all that matters.
No matter what we go through, love will still remain. So do what you want, baby. You and me in the sun. Know that I still be here when the day is done. So come a little bit closer, and I'll tell you what I feel inside. You know I'm gonna wait on you. I'm gonna wait on you. You know I'm gonna wait on you. Yes, I'm gonna wait on you. No one's gonna love you like I do. So glad that I found you. You're the missing piece, the last piece of the puzzle. I'm finally at ease. So when times are rough and the promises we make just seem so hollow and weak, and we're about to break, we have to remind ourselves, 'cause we know how we feel inside. You know I'm gonna wait on you. Ain't over till
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Dr. Maya Angelou always taught us that when a person shows you who they are, believe them. What about a nation? America has shown us that it is a violent nation, that it will commit acts of terror in order to protect its power, not only domestically, but across the globe. And we've seen it over and over again in the Black community. America has shown us who it is. What do we do with that information? We'll discuss that at great lengths today. But first, On the Clock with Georgia Ford.
Friday evening, while many people across the country were ramping up for their 4th of July celebrations, there was a man in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, who was being attacked and harassed. He had no idea that this harassment, this violent, hateful attack against him would lead to protests erupting in his neighborhood. I want you guys to take a look at this footage, but I also want you guys to be mindful that this may be triggering for some to watch. Take a look.
Listen, you know what happened to the last one?
I know what you did. You broke that window. So what the fuck you did?
Dude,
I don't care.
Cookie's windows got shot out with a shotgun.
I don't care.
222s to their fucking front face.
I do not care.
In Cherry Hill, their fucking daughter got smashed.
Exactly.
Is that what you want? No. And you want to know where I was when all this happened?
I don't care.
At work, monkey.
I don't care where you were.
At morgue. Just like I told the Mount Laurel police, get these fucking monkey niggers out of here and you can't do shit. That's me talking shit. 3602 Gramercy Way, that's where I live. Come fucking see me. So you're real comfortable. So get me on video so you know what you see. Bring whoever.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey, White, why are you back over here?
Well, somebody called me.
Someone called you. It's
We're
private
told-
property. You have no jurisdiction here whatsoever.
I do.
None.
Somebody calls me.
Hold on.
I need back up.
You know what? Hold on.
Back
Go
up.
ahead. No.
Back
I'm gonna
up.
let you do your thing. Go talk to these fucking niggers. Go ahead.
Stop.
Fuck you. Go talk to the niggers. Let them know what I'm all about and what their fucking rights they have.
All right. You want to go back to your house? I'll come back to you.
No, I'll stay right here. It's common property.
Okay.
Have a nice night.
You guys from 1101?
Oh, yeah,
How's it going?
I'm gonna let you guys get an education right now.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'll do my job. All right?
No problem.
Who lives at 1101? Who called? You guys want to step in and talk, or?
Oh, you can
Leave me alone.
Okay.
I want him to go away. I don't know him. I want him to leave me alone.
As you guys
Denise,
can
I'm not
see
going
here-
away until your husband stops fucking finding me and threatening me while I'm at fucking work.
Cagney, cut it out, man.
Oh,
Let me
wait.
talk to them.
Arrest me.
I'm not
No, you
listening
can't.
right now. Relax.
Now,
Niggers.
you see how he's antagonizing the police even?
She's not going to be allowed to go.
I agree with you. You guys all live at 1101? Or?
No, just me.
Okay.
Don't want to litter in our property.
I appreciate that. Thank you. You want to go and talk real quick? Let's see what's going on here.
Circus? Did you know there was monkeys outside?
Cagney, cut it out, man. Go home.
Now, we wanted to play that clip in its entirety for a few reasons, so that you could see not only how Edward Matthews, who's 45 years old, was using hate speech against his neighbor, but then also so that you could see how he behaved when law enforcement arrived and what their response was. And so it wasn't until over this weekend that he was actually arrested for his behavior. Ben, I want to pull you in on this because, you know, we see this happen more often than what we would like. And it is an unfortunate reality, Brother Mac, as well, that this is the world that we live in 2021. To hear white people using the N-word so hatefully, and to see the officer initially be so dismissive. And let's be clear, yes, there has been an update in this case. Yes, Edward Matthews was arrested, but that arrest didn't come until hundreds of people in Mount Laurel showed up to his home and demanded that the police department hold him accountable.
Yeah, I hadn't watched the entire clip until just now. A lot of times in these cases, I can't afford to watch them because exactly what you said, it's triggering. And to hear the confidence of this white man, the confidence in his heart that he felt like he was so confident he gave us his address. That's how supreme he really believed that he was. And the fact that the police officers just let it go. I'm not really sure. In the case, if he was a black man, they would have found some reason to arrest him. They don't ever really need a reason. They create reasons to arrest us. I think that gentleman gave us plenty of reason for the system to see that he was a clear and present threat in that situation. And it took protests in order to get some traction on this. That's completely absurd, because in any other scenario, had that man been a black man, he probably would have been dead on the scene as the police officers arrived.
And
go ahead.
Sister Ford and Brother Ben, good morning to you.
Good morning.
We don't even have to imagine that. But clearly, if that had been a black man dealing with a white man with that type of speech, first of all, on top of watching and listening to the language he used, to your point, Sister Ford, that the part that resonated with me was it appeared to me that this cop knew him, that they know this man, because, that wasn't his first time doing that. The report says that over a couple of years, there have been numerous reports of him harassing folks. So it's like they knew him, and it was the calmness at which law enforcement dealt with him. And as you said, basically dismissed him. So clearly, had that been a black man, using that type, acting in such a manner, they wouldn't have bothered to talk to the white folks. He would have been dealt with swiftly and severely right there on the spot. So that was the other part of that resonated with me. And to your point being, the confidence he had when he was doing it. And then let us go back to May 25th of last year. I think the part that resonated with a lot of us within the Chauvin situation was that smug look he had on his face, hands in his pocket with his knee on Brother Floyd's neck. That's how comfortable they are with demonstrating their superiority in cases like that. So that's the other part that resonated with me about this situation. And we also have to remember now, go back to 2020, Memorial Day of 2020 of last year in New York, when Brother Cooper was bird watching, and the white woman, Amy Cooper, no relation, did the exact same thing, except now what she does is she calls 911, reports this false narrative, and the only thing that really saved Brother Cooper was the fact that he was videotaping it. But when we talk about the dismissiveness, even in that Cooper case with Amy Cooper and Christian Cooper, the prosecuting attorney, they didn't file charges against her. I think what they said is, we're going to make this, and it's not their words, but in effect, let's make this a teachable moment. So I don't think that she faced any criminal charges. And remember, when you dial 911, if you hang up on a 911 call, that's a felony. So misreporting on a 911 call has to have some type of ramifications to it, which goes back to, we're going to tie a whole lot of this together. We go back to Sha'Carri Richardson. See, there's not a law in the land that there is not discretion in the punishment. And what we're seeing here in the case of Matthews, days later, before this protest comes, before there's accountability. In the case of Cooper, let's make it a teachable moment. But in the case of Richardson, let's throw the book at this young sister on using a substance that's not performance enhancement, that's legalized, being legalized across this country, was legal in her state, but let's throw the book at her. So these are the types of things that come to my mind when we see these situations of white folks doing the type of things and acting in such a way towards Black folk.
And, the other thing here, we know that Matthews is charged with harassment and biased intimidation. And so the question becomes then, when you have a white individual who is clearly using the N-word very aggressively, he is coming onto the property of, even though he's saying, this is common property, I can be here. There's absolutely no reason for you to be on the walkway of your neighbor's house using racial slurs aggressively. And also, let's be clear, at the beginning of that clip, we heard him say, did you see what happened to so-and-so? Did you see what happened to so-and-so? Referencing, it sounded like some other situations that turned violent. And not only did he reference these situations that turned violent, he then in turn said, and guess where I was? I was at work. And so to me, what that implies, it implies a threat. It implies that he doesn't even need to be there to carry out whatever type of violent act he's threatening. And then when the police did show up, they were very dismissive of his actions. And so I think the question becomes, if that was a Black person who was acting aggressively, would the charges that they'd be faced with only be harassment and bias intimidation? And during these protests, what we started to hear from people, start calling out about the need for hate crime bills to be stiffer. And I think that would mitigate people from being in public, being on someone's property and acting and behaving this way. Because to me, it just, I don't know. I'd be curious to know what your thoughts are, but it doesn't feel like harassment and bias intimidation are stiff enough charges for what this man did.
I look at that clip and I'm looking at it now, and this is the protest, but on the other clip, the gentleman basically belly bopped the guy. Like he made contact with that young man. And I've seen police officers arrest people for assault for something about just like that. If you bump into a police officer like that, you're going to jail. All right. And so it's just something to me where the violence of white men in this country is never really seen as the actual threat that it is. Whereas playing in the park, 12-year-old Tamir Rice was seen as a clear enough threat that those officers came in and shot our little brother down. It's the disparity. They don't see January 6th as a real threat. They see our protest for Black lives as a real threat. And this is what I'm seeing in this video.
And so, Sister Ford, I'm wondering if you're alluding to the point that even though he said he was at work, violence still happened. So does that mean that he wasn't acting alone? Obviously there's more in his community that feels the same way. And so that harkens me back to the Ahmaud Arbery case. Because the first time that I saw the video clip of him jogging down the street, the first thing that came to my mind was who in their right mind, and I'm thinking about the person driving and who's videotaping. I'm saying, who in their right mind pulls out their camera when they see somebody jogging down the street? There is no way this guy has to be involved in this some kind of way. And of course, when the situation played out, all the focus was on the two people who killed our brother. But then later they find out that the whole community, and in particular, this guy was a part of it. So when Matthew says, yeah, I was at work, but you know what happened? It implies to me that there's more than just he who was involved with this. And so now when you start putting all the pieces together, the cop clearly appeared to have known him, took this very lenient diplomatic approach with him in the face of what is clearly criminal. And then, as you said, Brother Dixon, when you watch that videotape, he walks into the face of the Black man and physically touches him. Under any type of law looking at that situation, that is assault. So now go back and look at the charges that they charge Matthews with. Was assault one of them, or are they just intimidation, harassment? No, it should have been assault as well.
Yeah, he walked all the way up to his doorstep, and that's only a clip of the video. The entire video itself is about 6 to 7 minutes long, and he actually does put his hand on him. And so definitely there could be assault charges there. People could argue, I think also threats, deadly threats. And the fact that, that officer was so dismissive, I'm not sure if we have the actual arrest video, but if we have the arrest video, you can see that they didn't come and arrest and charge him until hundreds of people were surrounding his home. You can see him being taken out there in handcuffs. And it shouldn't, why does it take hundreds of people coming out and demanding accountability? And that's the part that is very disheartening, that officers cannot take action on their own, that these police departments, the Mount Laurel Police Department, could not look at that situation just alone by itself and say, something wrong happened here. We need to take action. Our oath, we take an oath to provide public safety for our citizens. And right now, one of our citizens does not feel safe. They failed to take action based on what they witnessed. And the officer witnessed this man. Yes. He witnessed Edward Matthews using racial slurs. Then we know that there was video evidence of what we just described as an assault. He had that right there. And they chose not to act. They chose not to issue him a citation on site. They chose not to arrest him on site. And they failed to do so until the community stood up and said, we will not tolerate this. And to me, I think that is where our public safety systems across this country are failing Black Americans, because they will not protect and serve us unless we stand up and say, you must. We refuse to give you our tax dollars and stand by and watch you be complicit. And I don't know what the remedy for that is. But it is extremely frustrating to see that here we are again. And you know, all of those citizens in Mount Laurel who came out to demand justice for their Black neighbor, they should have been able to, you know, enjoy their 4th of July weekend. But instead, they had to go and use their time and their voice to demand that their police department serve them in the same way it's serving white citizens.
Well, you know, Georgia, to that point, I'll tell you this. I can't think of a better way to celebrate the 4th of July than to apply pressure that leads to accountability and protection of our brothers and sisters in this country. I can't think of a better way to celebrate the 4th of July.
You know, that's one way to looking at it, because you think about it, the most American thing in this country to do is protest. Let's not forget that this country was founded on protest. And they want to vilify our protests now that the marginalized communities we found the place in history where marginalized communities can protest at the same level, relatively at the same level as our white counterparts, because we see the difference. Their protest goes all the way to the Capitol building. January 6th, they can go all the way to the Capitol building and threaten democracy itself with white protests. And yet we still can't get away with the basic protest of saying, do not kill us. I think that's the fundamental difference. And I think we have to be cognizant of that, because right now America is making a decision, like which way is it going to go? Which protest will America yield to? The protesters of January 6th or the protesters on behalf of Black lives?
Absolutely.
But go ahead, George.
Well, I was just going to say, it makes me think even too, across the country, over the weekend, there was 150 fatalities. And I know we're going to go deeper into this later on in the week, but 150 fatalities from gun violence. In total, there were 400 shootings. And, you know, our country has become so violent that, you know, 150 fatalities from gun violence is barely making headlines. And this is something that is plaguing our nation, and it's not exclusive to a certain social status or, you know, based on your background. We saw a attack at a resort, at a golfing retreat over the weekend, you know? And so this is something I think also that we need to examine, is how violent culture has become so commonplace, whether you have the, you know, white man in Mount Laurel being violent with his words, or you have people who are being destructive with guns. Either way, violence has become so embedded in the fabric of our nation that we, decade after decade, no matter how much legislation we pass, it seems like that violent culture continues to persist.
But, you know, Georgia, to the point that being made, this country was founded on protests. And obviously, you know, one could understand that if you're trying to break away from tyranny, you're not going to be able to do that in many cases in peaceful manners. But the other part that we have to factor into, and what we were talking about yesterday with the fall of that building in Miami, you got to factor in capitalism. And you also have to, and in capitalism, now wrap into that the NRA, who is clearly making money on this thing in light of the fact that we have this incredible violence that you just described. And even to the point, and this is how strong and how nefarious greed is around capitalism. Most of these mass shootings that have taken place in schools have been by their children against their children. And still, because of this love of money and this capitalism that they want to do, they'll negate that in the face of reasonable gun control. That is how sick this nation is becoming.
Absolutely. There's nothing really more to add to that. Just to reiterate the point, they will let their own. They will kill. They are killing their own children.
Yes.
They did not blink when half of the nation did blink when Sandy Hook happened. The other half said that, but they didn't. We're dealing with a different breed here because they will run all the way to the point of killing their own children for the sake of their greed.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. When we got the first awakening, arguably one of the big awakenings of it at Columbine, right? And the NRA didn't blink. And as a matter of fact, they dug down and doubled down on the rights to bear arms. And to that point, when we see school shooting after school shooting after school shooting of their children against their children, and you still are not for any form of reasonable gun control. So that is why we're beginning to see this thing just unravel, Georgia, as you said, where these shootings are just reaching epidemics. And one could still say, look at the NRA, look at capitalism, look at just all out greed. And for your children to be doing it against your children, and then you want to come into the black community and start talking about black on black crime? I mean, get out of here with that nonsense.
You guys, if you have not been following the situation that unfolded in Mount Laurel over the weekend, there was a man who went up to his neighbor using racial slurs, and protests erupted in front of his home because the police failed to do anything. Since then, that individual has been arrested. And so the one thing I want to leave you guys with this morning is this. When you stand up and you use your voice, it makes a difference. We saw that happen in New Jersey. Hundreds of people came out. They demanded that there be accountability. They demanded that charges be pressed. Now, we can debate on whether or not those charges are severe enough, but we saw that collectively citizens in Mount Laurel who said, we will not tolerate racists here in our community. They were heard, and their law enforcement did end up holding Edward Matthews accountable. I know we could continue to go on and on here, you guys. There's so many layers and so many complexities to this. So I invite you guys to leave your thoughts in the comments. But for now, that's all we have for On the Clock. You guys who are watching, stay tuned for more on The Benjamin Dixon Show.
More coming soon on the Benjamin Dixon Show. Y'all make sure that you stay tuned. We got Like It or Not coming up next, and we got a special guest coming on this morning as well too. So make sure you grab your tea, your coffee, whatever it is that you need to get your morning started. Good morning, everyone. Roll call coming up in a minute.
She need the package. She says it's so close she can taste it. I saw the look in her eyes. I was unsurprised. Ain't nothing new. Already been through this 100 times. She can't settle. Hunger strong enough to smash metal. So I slide in the driver's seat and mash the gas pedal. Blast off across the asphalt like NASA shuttles. Cars in front of me, I pass a couple. Then check the rear view to see who's creeping behind me. Eyes in all directions. I'm never stepping blind.
There's a man and he's taking it to the streets, just doing what he's able. And it came to protect all his family and put food on the table. It's cold outside.
KFZ 24/7. This is The Package. throwback, y'all. Good morning, Brenda, Six Dragon, Daddy, and the Heart Rain du Sol. Tyler, good morning. On and on it goes. Savage, sweetheart, what's going on, sister? Good morning. Brother Chuck Diesel, good morning, y'all. Esther, good morning. It Get a 9, I see you. Good morning. Laura Estrada, thank you for your super chat and good morning. I am not only being radicalized with McAfee. Come on, McAfee. I love it. Good morning, y'all. Good morning. Brother Lateef, good morning. Miss Nuru, good morning, y'all.
Stay loyal. You gotta get the package back to the boss.
Shout out to everybody that's checking in, y'all, from Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you checking in at, y'all. Make sure that you hit that like button, y'all. We love y'all. We mean it, y'all. Stay tuned.
Back safely and watch your face light up because it's that taste.
Tell him I need my money right now.
Sonny Wright, good morning, good morning. Hey, man, I appreciate the love, y'all. Gene Brown, good morning. Shay T, good morning, y'all.
Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup it, but don't waste my energy, my energy. I don't got much, don't be wasting all my energy. I keep it tight, don't let nobody get close to me. My heart is right, don't question my integrity. No, I thought we would be just fine, and I thought your heart was like mine, but let me find out you've been going around throwing shots, running plots. Come on, man, tryna block my blessings. Only for comparisons.
Environmental Coffee House, good morning, good morning. Ear Hustler, good morning, y'all.
Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for, and make what you've been saying about me true, true. Tell them I need my money right now.
Hey, if you have not already, make sure patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot, y'all. Support. That's how we keep bringing y'all this dope content, y'all. So make sure that you join patreon.com/likeItOrNot, y'all.
But now it's clear you ain't ever been true to me. My intuition ain't ever lied. I had to leave. Handle your business, do what you think you need to do to get your revenge. But you won't break me, God, that's my witness. Past the point of no return, I'm on a mission. Tryna block my blessings, but only for comparisons. What's from me won't be from me. Yeah, I'ma go through just to grow through. But pay me what you owe me for, and make what you've been saying about me true, true. Tell them I need my money right now. Round me the juice, they stole out my crown. Sorry to tell you, I know my value. I'm gonna recoup.
Messed up and I'm sprung. Something in your smile that it makes me wanna come over. Can I come over? I wanna come over. Thinking about your ocean. Swimming pool is closed and I'm in the deep end.
Moon Me, good morning, y'all. Good morning, everyone. Make sure that y'all are staying safe out there, y'all. Love y'all, I mean it.
Can I come closer? I wanna come over. When you leave me like that.
Adrienne, tell Reggie the Feline I said good morning.
I'll be coming right back on.
Yeah, we got more coming up shortly. Be here with the Benjamin Dixon Show. Make sure that you stay tuned, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned. Brother Tiger, good morning, Tiger.
You said you wanna move.
Six Dragon Daddy, I see you. Good morning, brother Tiger.
I know we're not done. I'm thinking about our moments. I know I'm not sober. Can I come closer? I wanna come over. When you leave me like that, girl, don't do me like that. Ooh, when I think about that.
All right, y'all, coming back to the screen. Our brother from another mother, y'all, Benjamin Dixon.
Girl, don't do me like that, no.
I want to bring Professor Carl Mack, Dr. Carl Mack, to the screen. I refer to him as Professor. And I want us to have a moment in Black history. There's so many things that are, they're so fearful of our history. The conversation around critical race theory is really about the history being told by the people who experience power, not history being told by the powerful. Dr. Mack, what happened today in Black history?
Yeah, Brother Ben, thank you. And look, why don't we just take it straight to Google? Check it out. Hey, Google, what happened on this day in Black history?
On July 6, 1957, Althea Gibson won both the singles and the doubles titles in Wimbledon and returned home to a ticker tape parade in New York. Later that year, she became the first Black person to win at Forest Hills, now the U.S. Open, a tournament she had been barred from earlier due to racist policies. In 1958, she again won the Wimbledon, singles and doubles, and Forest Hill titles. Besides tennis, in 1963, Gibson became the first Black woman to play on the Ladies Professional Golf Association Tour, and her final tee time was on September 28, 2003. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4 calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Carl Mack.
Well, now, Ben, here's some other things I want you to understand. I want you to also remember that Althea Gibson was a prominent member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and she was a FAMU Rattler. So when she won in 1957, when she won Wimbledon, the most prestigious tennis tournament in the world, she was also the first player to receive her championship trophy personally from Queen Elizabeth II. And so again, although we know all of these things that she did in the world of tennis, she was also the first Black woman to play on the Professional Golfers Association Tour. Now, one of the things that you heard in this historical piece was that she was barred from Wimbledon. And there was barred from the U.S. Open. And there was this former U.S. Open champion, white woman by the name of Alice Marble, who, to her credit, wrote a very scathing letter to the association about barring her. And I just want to read you just an excerpt on this. She says, "I think it's time we face new facts. If tennis is a game for ladies and gentlemen, it's also time we acted a little more like gentle people and less like sanctimonious hypocrites." So this letter was an absolutely scathing letter that a champion, a former champion, writes to her group to say this nonsense of you trying to say, well, she has a way in. Well, in order for Althea Gibson to get in, there were certain tournaments that she needed to play in, and she needed to rank high in those tournaments. But Alice Marble said, don't bring that sham to us, because you know that those qualifying tournaments have also barred her because of her race, so she'll never have a way in. But because of this letter that Alice Marble wrote, Althea Gibson got a chance to play in the U.S. Open Tennis Championship, which we now refer to as the U.S. Open, and the rest is history. So, like it or not, America, that's your day in Black history.
That's our day in Black history. Dr. Carl Mack, thank you so much for bringing us those updates. And anyone can get these type of updates on their own if they have that system. Now, I'm not a fan of bringing the CIA into my house, but if I had one of those systems, I definitely would use it. And how do they trigger it to get this Black history moment?
All you have to do is say, hey, Google, what happened on this day in Black history?
On July 6, 1957.
Hey, Google, we heard from you. Be quiet.
Dr. Mack, thanks so much. I want to bring up at this time Professor Mia Bloom. She is the professor of communications at Georgia State University. And she is also the author of Pastels and Pedophiles, Inside Mind of QAnon. Professor Bloom, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Benjamin. It's great to talk to you again.
It's always a pleasure. I had a chance to see you on what is our sister's name last night on MS? Joy Ann Reid. Yes, Sister Reid last night discussing QAnon. And one of the things that jumped out in this particular conversation as we talk about the impact of the Q phenomenon is how you discussed how it's infiltrating the religious circles, particularly evangelicals. Can you speak to that for me?
Oh, absolutely. One of the things that we've been tracking with this research project, and I have to let you know that the U.S. Department of Defense is behind us on this. They are funding this research to protect, protect our communities and protect our country. But one of the things that we were noticing was the extent to which it was infiltrating into different religious communities. And so this is where it became really problematic, because 1 in 3 evangelicals believes that there is a blood-drinking cabal of Democrats and Hollywood elites. And then they add in a few people like the Bush family, or like the Royal Windsor family, or the royal family in Holland. But so one of the problems that I had with this is I have friends who are evangelicals, and I know that it's a proselytizing religion, and they go around the world and they are bringing, Jesus into people's lives. But if they're also bringing Q, that's the problem.
QAnon, right there, and it's funny how that works. How they use the name of Jesus to take imperialism abroad, but that's a whole different conversation. Professor, I want to play a clip of Pastor Greg Locke. He is a relatively popular evangelical pastor who is in the Trump circles, and in this clip, he's discussing QAnon. And he is essentially doing exactly what you said. They are seamlessly tying together their faith, not only with the Republican Party, because they did that many, many years ago, but now they're tying it in to this this international conspiracy theory. Let's take a look at that first clip from Greg Locke.
God's about to bring the whole house down, ladies and gentlemen. These bunch of sex trafficking mongrels are about to be exposed. These bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood are going to be exposed for who they are. I don't care what you think about fraudulent Sleepy Joe. He's a sex trafficking, demon-possessed mongrel. He's of the left. He ain't no better than the Pope and Oprah Winfrey and Tom Hanks and the rest of that wicked crowd. God is going to bring the whole house down. I said he's going to bring the whole house down. He's going to burn the whole thing to the ground. He's going to expose all these bunch of pedophiles. I'm telling you, he's going to expose Kamala Harris for the Jezebel demon that she is.
There's a whole lot going on in that clip, Professor Bloom.
I mean, what jumped out at me right away was Jezebel. I mean, this is where QAnon is using these tropes from Reconstruction, after the Civil War, where there were certain kinds of characters that were like these racist stereotypes, whether it was, the Uncle Tom or the Pickaninny. And so what happened was after the Civil War, they introduced some additional new stereotypes that were much more aggressive and violent, and Jezebel being sort of the description of African-American women being over-sexualized, but also this idea of the black brute, these black men who are coming for your white women. And so this is the fact that he even used Jezebel. It gave me goosebumps, because we've been tracking this, and I've had to sit through and listen to some of these horrible movies, let's say Birth of a Nation, or I listened, I didn't read it, but The Klansman. And these things, you would think 100 years later, we would have done away with these stereotypes, but no. He's just
Mia, and Mia, you hit on the point, and people need to understand that Birth of a Nation was one of the highest grossing movies in this country. And that movie was built on the premise of black men just as brutes wanting to get at these white women. And they even showed that movie at the White House. That's the popularity of it. But Mia, one of the things I want to ask you is, we hear the name QAnon. We hear that all the time. Why? What does QAnon, how did they come up with that name, or what exactly does QAnon mean?
Well, Q is a security clearance level, but not for intelligence or the State Department, but for the Department of Energy. So it's the reason why, when I was telling Benjamin about the study, we published it in the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, because those are the guys that have the Q clearance. So basically, it starts in October 2017 in the 4chan, the underbelly of the internet. And it was this cryptic post. And from there, it grew and it went from platform to platform. But the idea of QAnon is that there is a global cabal of blood-drinking pedophiles. So they're first, they rape the children and then they drink their blood. And that it's all Democrats in Hollywood. And that the military asked Donald Trump to run as president because only Trump can save the children. When in fact, at the time, we knew that he'd been accused of something like over 30 cases of sexual harassment, including young girls. So, it doesn't make sense to someone who's rational, but these people are true believers.
So Q comes, the letter Q comes from security clearance, if you will. And then now we're talking about the underbelly of it, the dark side of this.
Absolutely. And so what happened was first it was in these message boards, very cryptic. And then people realized that they could monetize it. So there was one woman, a social media influencer named Tracy Beans, or otherwise known as Tracy Diaz. And so she would have YouTube videos where she was taking these little hints, these Q drops, and she was linking them to things that President Trump was either saying or tweeting. And then you would have her PayPal or Patreon account at the bottom of the screen. And then someone else decided to monetize it. So the presence of QAnon and the grift are very intricately intertwined because for many people that are making money off of this, they want to keep it going.
So I know this is I think I know the answer to it, but, obviously the Conservative Party, the Republicans want to paint themselves as very conservative, family values, the likes. And clearly we know within the Republican Party of values or behaviors that are not so, quote, conservative and family values, affairs, even relationships within the same sex, gay and lesbian relationships. So I got to believe that none of these things are talked about within QAnon.
I mean, not only that, if you think about the fact that we know that Matt Gaetz is facing some sort of potential trial for trafficking a 17-year-old, he's traveling around and he's linked up with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the QAnon congresswoman from Georgia. And so for me, it's almost so absurd that the people that QAnon within the Republican Party are linked up to are likely the ones who are engaged in these activities. And it's not people who have a stellar character. It's not good family men and women. It's people who are very shady. And again, if you really care about the children, and I think a lot of people who follow QAnon probably got into it for what we would consider to be altruistic reasons, that they wanted to help children, but they are helping children in the wrong way. This is not the way to do it.
Now, on the January 6th insurrection, I know that some of these people who have come out and have admitted that, look, I was so wrapped up in Trumpism and QAnon. So can you speak to some of the testimonies that have come out from some of these insurrectionists about how they were impacted by not only Trump, but the teachings of QAnon?
Well, so we have, for example, the guy with the horns and that face paint and the body full of tattoos, Jake Angeli. He is known as the QAnon shaman from Arizona. And he's always, in that getup with, it's like Asterix and Obelix with the crazy hat. And the tattoos he's got are all Norse symbols, which are connected to neo-Nazi ideology. The neo-Nazis have lommed on to Norse mythology, like Thor's hammer, in order to show how white they are. But he's now saying that, he was misled. So it reminds me a lot because I also, for many years, before I was working on QAnon, I've been working on terrorism for a long time. It reminds me of the people who are trying to get out of Syria after having joined ISIS and saying, all I did was cook, or I was, lured here under false pretenses. Nobody ever admits to wrongdoing.
Wow.
So, but most of these people are saying, I believed President Trump, I followed President Trump. And to remind you, and Sister Joy said this last night, bin Laden wasn't flying the planes. He didn't need to, you don't need to have President Trump actually enter the Capitol to be ultimately the source of inspiration for all these people that tried to overthrow our government.
What is the there's an academic term for that, isn't it? It's stochastic terrorism, where you're able to what you say. There's a degree of separation, but what you say causes that type of action. Isn't that? I mean, that's a way to describe it.
I mean, stochastic terrorism, definitely. For example, when we talk about stochastic terrorism, we might be talking about various mass casualty shooters who aren't linked up, but they are still following some extreme right-wing ideology, and that they're following Anders Breivik from 2011 in Norway, or Brenton Tarrant, who perpetrated that massacre in Christchurch, New Zealand. And of course, that led to Prime Minister of New Zealand, I think her name is Jacinda, basically saying all the Western countries need to be on the same page about social media. We have to understand that social media can translate into real world harms. It's not just about people being fantasists online, if it then translates into the real world.
So Mia, let me ask this question. When you talk about other world leaders, you know, obviously QAnon has infiltrated around the world. Have other world leaders come out very stern against QAnon? And then if so, make a comparison of those leaders into what we saw Trump say about QAnon. That's a good question.
Well, so there's been some variation. The Institute for Strategic Dialogue in London has been tracking QAnon postings in different countries. And the United States is always number one. And so they've got like the top five. So it's United States and it's Canada, UK, France, Germany, places like Indonesia and Germany and Russia, right? So some of these leaders, like Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of Canada, has come out against QAnon. And of course, QAnon, at some point, they tried to attack him. And they attacked the Canadian equivalent of the White House. I mean, the person was arrested and sent off to jail. But the fact remains is that most leaders have come out, if they've been asked about QAnon activity in their countries, they've come out and said that it's a baseless conspiracy theory and it's, you know, it's anti-Semitic. In France, it's also Islamophobic. There's one exception, however. Scott Morrison in Australia, apparently a very close friend of his, and the friend's wife who works in Scott's household were QAnon supporters.
Well, see, let me just stop you for a minute. And the reason I want to stop you is because now I'm harking back to the conversation that we had yesterday, where we had a reporter from Australia to come out and try to stain the legacy of one of our Black heroines,
Sha'Carri Richardson.
But not only Sha'Carri,
Flojo as well. Flojo, yep.
Flojo as well. So, you know, I'm now that, you know, those pieces are beginning to make sense to me. So, you know, maybe we got to talk to our folks down under and put them further down under. I'm just saying, like it or not.
Go ahead. Sister Bloom, you were expounding on that though, that international connection, because there is a QAnon is not just a conspiracy theory that can be disregarded. They have international reach with what they're doing. And when I say reach, I mean, look at what they did here in the United States of America. We have elected officials who are officially parts of, whether or not it's an official designation, I mean, I don't know, but they are clearly supported and put into power by QAnon. So this isn't something that could just be dismissed.
We dismiss it at our own peril. And for example, last summer when they had the primaries in the United States before the November election, there were 97 candidates that were QAnon supporters that were running in the primaries, of which 24 were successful that went on to the November election. We are still more than a year away from the 2022, and there are already 18 primary candidates that are QAnon. So where did we see QAnon candidates? In places like Florida, Texas, and California. Those are the three states that had the most. And so those are the states that we're going to have to really be concerned about, because these QAnon ideas are spreading like a disease.
So Mia, is there an effort to identify these candidates while they're running for office of their association with QAnon, number one? And then second, I got to admit personally that, I just kind of dismissed it like, just empty rhetoric. But listening to you, and I find this conversation so incredibly insightful, and I thank you so much for the research that you all are doing. But then to bring this even closer to the Black community, is there anything in your study that shows the activity of QAnon within law enforcement officers who now are on the streets of America?
Well, so let me take it two parts. First of all, as far as the international reach is concerned, it's a potential threat. And the reason is that as Q goes from country to country, it takes on a different flavor. In other words, it connects itself to the local issue. So in France, it's connected to the Yellow Jackets. In the UK, it's with Brexit. And so what happens is it doesn't look exactly the same as it moves from country to country, except for the global cabal of blood drinking, elites. But as far as the Black community is concerned, they are starting to make inroads into the Black community in order to get their candidates elected. And so among those California delegates that ran in last summer, there were people of color. And it was one of the things that I explained to Benjamin, why I was so motivated to show what are the racist tropes embedded within QAnon in order to inoculate our sisters and brothers of color who might think, well, yeah, of course I want to help children. Who's going to say no to, do you want to help the children and save the children? Do you want to help the
children? Professor Mia Bloom.
I'm sorry. Ben, before we go with it, now talk to me about, does your study show those who are in law enforcement with a strong tie to QAnon?
And I forgot to answer that. Thank you so much for reminding me, Carl. So we are doing a new project that what we did was we had the Parlay data before Amazon took it off of its web hosting services. And we were able to find which military bases had uploaded images from the January 6th insurrection up into Parlay. And then, triangulate, so all these military bases are full of people who are QAnon. The next phase of this project, and I'm working with an expert on the far right, Ari Perliger, who's a professor at UMass Lowell. He's going to find all the police stations and sheriff's offices, because if there's QAnon in the military, we know that there's going to be QAnon in the police.
But let me just make sure I understand what you said. You're telling us right now in the Black community that there are Black folk who are tied to QAnon.
There are people of color who think QAnon is real, who think that there is a cabal of pedophiles and that they want to break the power of this horrible cabal. But remember, you don't come in full feet at the deep end. You dip your toe in and you slowly, gradually get pulled in. So they're getting pulled in by a variety of different things. So because people are inclined to believe in conspiracy theories, then it's sort of like, well, it becomes more believable. It's like, well, did you think 9/11 was an accident?
Okay, well, Mia, with that being said, all I need to know is that they're simply looking at the water. I don't care if their toe or toenail is in the water.
If they headed in that direction, if they head in that direction, it's a problem.
Would it be too much for us to ask that you help us to identify those Black folks who even look like they're going towards QAnon? Because it or not, we need to talk to our community about these dangerous handkerchief head Negroes that are trying to perpetrate our community. And we say that being unapologetic, like it or not, but that is a direct question that I want to ask you. Can you help us to identify those people within our communities and communities of color who are leaning towards QAnon?
These people who are running for office, they self-identify as QAnon. So I don't need to tell you who they are because they're showing their QAnon connection, front and center. But there's one thing I'm going to disagree with you on one thing, Carl. Okay. I think the important thing is that because it's affecting 30 million people in the United States that believe in QAnon, according to the latest polls, we need to have understanding to pull them out instead of shunning these people. In other words, the people at the top who are making money, we can send those people to jail for the Ponzi scheme. But the people who were well-meaning and have been duped, I want to help them back into the light. I don't want to just shun them and treat them as, outsiders and
yeah.
You're a lot more compassionate than I am.
We gotta hold the conversation there. There's so much more for us to discuss here. Professor Bloom, I definitely would love to have you back to flesh this out a little bit further, because this is an ongoing problem. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Dr. Carl Mack,
for letting me have this conversation with you guys. It was so lovely meeting everyone.
Oh, the pleasure was ours. And Dr. Carl Mack, as always, it is always a pleasure. DJ Exclusive, take us to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to extend the conversation a little bit more. We'll be right back after this break.
Like it or not, it's starting up next. Our sister Rebecca will be joining us, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned.
You want from me? You want from me? Tell me what it is, don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw salt, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy.
Y'all see the shoulders.
So I be trying to face the world head on. Front seat riding, cruising down the meadows.
Band of Strays, good morning. Shout out to everybody that is tuned in on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are streaming from. We appreciate y'all. Hey, make sure that you hit that like button, y'all. And if you have not already, I gotta remember, I can't touch this microphone too much. Make sure if you haven't already, go to patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not, y'all. Make sure that you stay tuned.
If you do not speak up in my own world, I don't try to girl. Tell me what you want. Don't be trying to front like I ain't what you want. I ain't here to stun. Let me take you out for lunch. I'ma get you drunk, yeah, feeling on your buns. Licks in the blunt. I got ash in my cup. All these girls showing up, but I don't give a fuck. Cause you the one I want, girl. You the one I want. Girl, you the one I want. Hey, come and show me if you wanna be a rider. And I'm feeling high, I can't deny it.
Shout out Mark S. Good morning, mama and daddy. Good morning, y'all.
She got me feeling higher than
real quick, we are going to go ahead and get these patrons read off our new patrons for yesterday. Here we go.
She just chilling, about to get up in the shower. I said,
we have Matthew, which is Matthew B. Nathaniel L. We have Anna L. Luke K. Shout out, brother Luke K. New Twitch subscribers. We have Green Eye Lurker Dragon, who resubscribed and commented good morning, and they've been subscribed for 4 months. And we have Moose Soup. Moose Soup, love it, who gifted 1 subscription to Orpheus_Alcon. Y'all, we appreciate the love and support. And if you haven't already, make sure that you go join patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Patreon.com/like-it-or-not. Keep this dope content going, y'all, and let's get it, man. Like it or not, starting up in a few. Mark S. Your fool. Aaron. Aaron. It's funny, I've been watching a lot of Key and Peele lately, y'all.
Gets me what I want. Hanging by a string. Gotta get up on my feet. Get to what I need, and I am flying through the streets on neon wings. Once I get to you, I don't want anything. Need you body, girl, I'm so addicted. Just like you predicted. I know, down.
Hey, Ben or David, y'all make sure, or Dwayne, look at the Slack. Rebecca needs assistance. Hey, Ron. Pixie by the Moon, good morning. Gwen Williams just popped in finally and said good morning, y'all. Shout out Mama Gwen in the building. Need to get Mama on one day. Goku, you better shut up, man. What's going on, brother Goku? Good morning.
Once I get to you, I don't want anything. Girl, I'm so addicted, just like you predicted. I know.
Shout out to the other Gwen in the building, Gwen Allen Karsten. Oh, it's two Gwens. Oh. Brother Infinite Content, I feel like I didn't shout you out this morning because you're a fool already, man. Good morning, Infinite Content. Truth the Dragon, good morning. Every time I hear this song, it reminds me of the scene in Into the Spider-Verse when he met the Fat Spider-Man. Fat Spider-Man. And he said he worked on the song. This is the song I feel like he made. The Spider-Man song is what I'm calling it. Savage Sweetheart. Good morning, sister. It sound like you watched the movie yesterday, y'all. America, the Motion Picture, y'all. America, the Motion Picture. If you have not watched it on Netflix yet, y'all, please make sure y'all watch it today. And tomorrow, y'all make sure y'all comment about it. Y'all, just trust me. Just watch it, please. Nat, hey, good morning, and a heart. Man, I can't stand y'all. Can't stand none of y'all. To Anna Hart talking about Bubba's harem is here. I hate y'all with a passion. Melanie Dennis, good morning. Hey man, make sure that y'all are hitting that like button. Y'all make sure that you stay tuned because more like it or not, it's coming up next. Darkness, everybody. Patricia, good morning.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me.
Oh,
I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me.
Ill Hustler, good morning. I appreciate you. You know I try to do what I can. Make sure y'all, patreon.com/like it or not. Patreon.com/like it or not. If you have not already joined, man, you do not want to miss it. Patreon parties be off the chain, and I think I'm going to do something special coming up soon. So y'all make sure that y'all stay tuned, all right? And if you want to know what it is that Bubba's doing special, I guess you just got to go join patreon.com/like it or not.
I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall.
There we go, y'all.
Loving people who persecute you is still a tough.
Patricia, yes, indeed, we do. I cannot wait to party with all of y'all, man. When I tell y'all, we gonna have the best damn Benjamin Dixon show, like it or not, on the clock party that we've ever had. Man, I can't goddamn wait.
No, you just can't hurt me.
No.
I ain't been right.
Adrian, love you too. I appreciate you.
Wrong, and it still can't hurt me. Can't hurt me. No.
And that, hey, just try to just run down these names in the morning like I do it. I'll be swearing I'll try to remember everybody, but I forget. So if I miss you, I love y'all. I mean it. It's not intentional. Jam Tomb, shout out to you. I appreciate you.
No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. See, it's hard to be polite.
Lena L, good morning.
Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you're ready. Cause I ain't working on my own timing. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining. Yeah, yeah. They say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate. Stop all the hate. Yeah. Let's keep it real. It'd be better if we check the face.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the screen. And welcome to the screen. My brother from another mother and my sister from another mister, Benjamin Dixon and Rebecca Azor. Rebecca Azor, y'all. Girl, you better do with this top. Good morning, y'all. Good morning.
It's a dress, but thank you.
Oh, I love it. Yes, sister.
I don't know. Can we adjust the? I'm gonna do I'm gonna call an audible here. And maybe we can, because I feel weird being on top of the pyramid here and feel like I'm looking down on y'all. Can we get us
I don't even
all
know
three
if
of
I
us
like the pyramid too much. Where's the side by side?
Can we get the side by side? I know that's not fair to our technical director, but we can do it. We can do it. Rebecca, James, it has been a while since the three of us have gotten together because Rebecca jumped on a plane last week and
went on vacation
and went on about her life,
taking flights
and left us for dead. Bubba, she left us for dead.
She did. I know.
Sure did.
But you know,
sure did.
It's okay. It's okay. I would have did the same thing. I mean, no, I wouldn't. That was so mean, Rebecca. Girl, did you bring my Hennessy back? I mean, that was so mean, Rebecca.
Yeah, definitely brought the Henny back. There was so much alcohol in the airport there. It was ridiculous. But I definitely needed that break. I needed to get away. Like, I know that for you, Bubba, I think like a few weeks before, you just needed to take a quick getaway to the beach. I mean, I needed to get away. I planned this one for a really long time. For a year, I've been trying to get to Mexico. And I said, since I didn't get a chance to do it for my 30th birthday, I would do it for my 31st. But because I was working my third job on my 31st birthday, had to push it a month later. And I was celebrating my 31st in Mexico by my lonesome. So it was a really interesting experience. Like I was saying yesterday, I got to meet a lot of people. And I also got to do things I've never done before, like ride ATVs, done crash into a tree. But got back on, I was like, ying, ying, and I was doing all that. And then I got to swim in ancient cave, cenotes.
Cenote, yeah.
It was really nice. Got to just. And my little cut on my leg, they were like, just put it in that water and you'll be healed. Listen, done put my little leg in the water, came out, leg was healed. And I'm like, that should definitely have been stitched up. And there's just a little scab there now. It's crazy.
You said you were it actually did what they said? It healed you?
It did what they said. Like whatever healing powers that damn cave had in the mineral water, it had that.
Y'all make sure y'all check on Rebecca tomorrow. Her leg gonna fall off. I'm just playing.
It's been since that trip, that excursion was on Thursday. So yeah. And then I had like monkeys jumping on my head, and I was like, ew, the monkey's booty is on my head. I have braids in, and I don't know how I feel about that. But it was really cool.
Actual monkeys.
Actual monkeys. I got
because I was thrown off. I'm like, wait. I was like, is this? Because I'm old. I'm like,
oh, no more monkeys. No. The actual.
Well, I didn't know if it was a new saying from like younger folks that I missed out on, because you're talking about actual factual monkeys were jumping.
Actual factual monkeys.
I don't know if I'm into that. I don't know if I could go.
But I at first I was like, what am I doing? And then I was like, you know what? This is stuff I'm in another country right now. I haven't done so much during this pandemic. I missed out on a lot.
Yeah.
So I actually just enjoyed that for what it was. As scared as I was, damn monkey was looking me in my little eyes. And I was like,
there we go.
But it was good though. And then I also had held parrots that spoke Spanish. They kept saying hola, hola, hola. But it was good. It was just like a really good experience. It was the fellowshipping with randoms for me. I met a couple from Utah. I met a couple from LA. I met a loner Mexican kid. And then I met this flight attendant who became my best friend.
Wait a minute. Wait. Is anyone else wondering, like, sis, why are you out there meeting all these people that like randoms in Mexico? Like, this is like the storyline to like, I Know What You Did Last Summer or something crazy.
Actually, somebody told me when I took a picture with the guy, his name is Addy. He told me, call me Addy like Adderall. I was like, sure. And he was just like, he was so fun, though. He was my gay best friend. Why do I always find one? It's always a thing. They always are attracted to me. I'm attracted to them. We just become like the best of friends.
The best friends.
The whole time. And he was singing, that's my best friend. She's a real bat. That's how he was singing it. He's Asian, though, but he was giving me everything I needed. But the thing is, he was pouring into me. The Utah couple was pouring into me. It was funny, and I called the Utah guy. What
do you mean by pouring it? What do you mean by pouring?
Pouring into my spirit. Like they were just like, all of them, most of them came with their significant other. And the ones who didn't were still vibing with those who were with their significant others. But they were just like, you know, you're going to meet someone great. And then the Addy, though, was like, and until you meet that person, you're going to back that ass up, girl. But you damn right I was going to back. The way that I was scrubbing the ground at that damn resort was ridiculous. And then when I sang, you guys, they had salsa classes. And they were like, you know, we're going to teach you guys salsa. We're going to teach you merengue. We're going to teach you bachata. We're going to teach you all of that. And because I'm Haitian, compa is merengue. So I already knew, but they didn't know. So when they were doing it, I was acting all weird, like I didn't know how to do it. When I say I cut that dance class out, they had to put me in front. They was like, come on, girl, just come on. And I was killing it, all the dance moves, it was good, right? And
where's the video?
And then, listen, I got to ask them for the video because the people that now follow me on Instagram, I should definitely ask them because they were recording. Now, it was the night. Are they watching you now?
Are they watching you now?
No, I should definitely, because they don't really, I kind of kept it low key a little bit because I didn't want to make it politics, right? Some of them were, they were like, they were Republican. And I heard them say that. I'm like, don't mess it up for me. Okay? I'm having a good time. I don't need to talk. But it was when I sang karaoke, y'all. It was when I said, because I was like, hey, let me go sing karaoke. And I went and I started off with, I bust the windows at your car. That song first, right? Just to shake things up a bit. And the black girls, because I don't know, when I was singing that, all of a sudden the few black folks came out of nowhere as if I was singing for the 99-2000. They just came out of nowhere. And they were like, yes. I was like, oh, you guys are here too? This is amazing.
It's international rules. When the 99-2000 come on, everybody
just come out of anywhere you are. But on this resort, they heard a black girl singing Jasmine Sullivan, and it was a turn-up song, and they was just like, whatever, I'm coming. And then after I sang that, I said I brought the whole resort together. Everybody was just in that center area and just vibing. And when I walked away, I was like, okay, I'm done. Let me go sit down. The man who was running it, who was also running the salsa classes, this is funny. He changed his shirt and started running the karaoke. But he came to me. He was like, I need you to sing again. And I was like, I'm here on vacation. I'm not a performer. He was like, I need you to sing again. And he's like, I need you to sing Beyonce, Hello. I said, hello? You talking about Halo? He said, yes, see. And I was like, all right. He saved me for last. Sang Halo, right? Shut it down. Forgot like a whole thing of it, but I'm a performer. So I forgot like a whole piece of it. So I walked over to the black girls, handed them the mic like this, like, whatever. Them girls were singing that part. And then when I figured out what my part was, came back, ended it, shut it down. The man came back to me, held my hands up and said, this has never happened before in the history of this resort. But he was speaking to me with a very strong accent. He took my hand like I won an award at a wrestling match, put it up, and was like, Rebecca Azor, everybody, Rebecca Azor. And I was like, this is so funny. But I was drunk. But it was a good time.
Man, that's
freaking awesome, dude.
I want to know, let me ask you a question, because I'm curious about those folks who were Republicans that you partied with and you didn't want to make it political. How did you know, identify them as Republican?
They're from Utah. They're white. But it was funny because he was like, at first, my little black self, I was like, he too close. Give me 50 feet. Even though we had masks on to get our drinks and stuff. But he kept looking at me. I'm looking at him. But he's like, go ahead and get your drink. And I'm like, Okay, I'm here on vacation. Then it was funny because after 2 drinks, I'm outside like, "What's up, Jake from State Farm?" Like doing all of that. And then he was like, "Yeah, this is my wife," and he's like, "My only wife. I'm from Utah. I only got one wife."
That's
like, okay,
wait,
all right.
That's it.
Okay, that's good.
And
That's good.
and then and because he had to make it be known. And then Addie was like, "I met them on a bus here, and they were talking some politics stuff. I didn't really like it too much, but we said we're on vacation and we're just going to keep it light. We don't want to talk politics." And then that's how I was like, "You damn right." Then they were starting to talk something political, and I didn't agree with it too much. And it wasn't in how they were voicing it that was bad. It was like I just didn't agree with it, and I didn't want to have that conversation. Not that I was going to walk away from them or whatever, but I just didn't want to have that conversation. I wanted to keep it just peopling, right? And they didn't. It didn't seem like bad people or anything, just because we had a difference of opinion or a difference of views. Now, if they were like, white is right and black is whack, it would have been an issue. If they were like, poor people suck and let's just continue to tax them. Look, if that was the conversation, that would have been another situation. They were just like, I'm a Republican and da-da-da-da. That was like kind of that conversation. But other than that,
what I don't mean to, because here's what I'm thinking about it in terms of like what I've run into, and I'm wondering if you ran into some of that. What I've run into is like people have like 2 gears now, and I think something has happened to us in the pandemic. People have like 2 gears. They have, I'm a normal human being, and then I'm this hyper partisan maniac who believes in QAnon. They just go like, and then before they start talking about that stuff, they seem pretty normal. And then it's like something just clicks and switches, and all of a sudden they go full QAnon, pedophile, blood cabal. And was it anything along those lines, or that's just happened to me here in Georgia?
That just happened to you here in Georgia. That's why I don't be. That's why I don't try to be. Yeah, that's why I don't try to be friends with nobody out here during the pandemic.
And it's funny because the same thing, Rebecca, that happened to you when I was married. When my husband and I went to Dominican Republic, there was on the way from the airport, there was a white couple on our bus, and they're just like, "Hey, how you guys doing? Where you from?" "We're from Georgia." "Oh, okay, you guys look like you're famous. You have on polos," and oh my God, we thought are you guys football players? We looked at each other.
Because you're big and black, like that's
big and
exactly
black. Yeah, we play in the NFL. My little small ass. No, I ain't big enough to be. Nobody in the NFL are tall enough. Y'all just, you really are.
Right.
No, seriously though, it was such a good time, y'all. But you're right though. When they see people, I didn't want to tell them that I worked in politics. I didn't want to tell them what I did because I just wanted to. I had to detach for a while. I needed to just enjoy myself and not look at people crazy or whatever. You know what I mean? I do that already for a living.
You didn't want to have to fight.
I didn't want to have to do that, and I just wanted to be at peace, drink my drinks, throw my ass in a circle, do my salsa, bachata, have them look at, why is this black girl so good at this? That's because we made the merengue. No shade to Dominicans, who was right there, which we are the same, but not the same. Shouts out to everybody that just really made the trip a really amazing experience for me, though. That I'll never forget. And I put my phone down. That was the biggest thing for me. Because I realized even them, they didn't have their phones out the whole time. We were literally we made a section for ourselves. We were really just eating and drinking and phones down, because I was so used to like picking up my phone and trying to have it here and there. And yes, because I was by myself, I had to make sure I was on my phone or whatever. But at that point, like I'm like, phones down. Like my phone just failed. Phone down. There was no like just enjoy the moment. Like just enjoy it for what it is. 'Cause I could have had a lot of stuff documented, but I just have it in my memories. And that to me is my favorite thing. Like
everything isn't for everybody. I've learned that. Everything isn't for everybody. So
and not
you
even
go on a vacation
friends.
like that. And not even close friends. Hello, somebody. It's like you take a couple of pictures. Other than that, phone and pocket in the room somewhere else. It's my vacation. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back, Rebecca.
Glad to have you back, sister.
You were unplugged, and now we're going to plug in to all the madness that you unplugged from. There's a clip that you shared, and I want to start with this sister. I call everybody sister, but this one she ain't no sister to me. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to start with this person. And Dwayne, just to give you a heads up, it is the Trump Kennedy TikTok. I want us to take a look at this one, Rebecca. You shared it, and I listened to it, and because these are the type of people I run into when I go out in public, and this is why I don't go out in public. Run the clip, Dwayne.
Trump Kennedy 2021. What does that shirt mean?
I think that JFK Jr. is still alive.
The guy who died in the plane crash in the late 90s? You think he's still alive?
I do.
And he's going to come back and be president with Trump this year?
I hope so.
But how would Trump become president this year? There would be a new election?
There's a lot of things I think have happened, and there's some things I think I know, and a lot of things I don't.
Okay. And one thing you do know is John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive?
That's what I believe.
Okay. Do you want to bet? Do you want to bet on it? I'll bet $100 that JFK Jr. doesn't come back from the dead. To do it.
But I don't think he's dead.
Okay. I'll bet $100 that he's not alive.
But
you bet 100?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got it.
Great.
Okay.
Sweet.
What the hell?
I run into those people all the time, James and Rebecca. Rebecca,
They probably
you shared
was all over that damn resort, but them drinks had us unified as hell.
As hell. That's what it be about. Pina colada. Yeah, let me get 5 of them. Cool.
Listen. Hey, nobody was trying to touch my hair or anything, but this is stupidity at its best. This is some Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's her cult. That's her crew. When they're listening to the conspiracy theories online, right? And then here we go. We have somebody who really believes that the plane didn't crash, that he's still out there, him being JFK Jr. And that is a problem, okay? That's like us saying that, and I mean, this is more, to me, more believable than JFK Jr. being alive, that Tupac is still out there and he about to come out from Cuba and he is about to, say that he was out there the whole time. Like we say it, but we not going to be out here saying that he about to run for president. He about to, none of that. No. But in that same sense, they're going to tie all of this to the idea that Donald Trump is going to be president in 2021. This is still a thing. Why? The man lost, sis.
Just deal with it.
JFK Jr. is dead. Let that man rest in peace. You talking about people. And then her daughter is sitting there
she's so embarrassed.
On the side in the background, just this is my mama. This is my mama. We about to be on we about to be a whole TikTok viral. They're going to get me. My friends is going to, you don't know that you're putting your kids through stress as a parent that says dumb things, that goes viral for saying dumb things.
Wait, pull that back up, because I noticed that too. Rewind it to where she was, the daughter in the background is like, oh my God, why is this my mother? Because you're right, it did go viral. Hell, I mean, it made it all the way to our show, so it's super viral.
I do.
And he's going to come back and be president with Trump this year?
I hope so.
But how would Trump become president this year?
Mama.
There would be a new election?
There's a lot of things I think have happened, and there's some things I think I know, and a lot of things I don't.
Okay. And one thing you do know is John F. Kennedy Jr. is still alive?
That's what I believe.
Mute the video. Mute the video.
Do you want to bet on it? I'll bet $100.
Leave the B-roll running. She's like, oh my God, Susie's going to see me.
Do you see how she stepped behind?
Look at the set in the background. Mom is so dumb. Is she dumb or what? God.
Don't do it, Rebecca.
Look at her face. And when she gets into the car, they're going to be like, you're dumb, Mom. You're so dumb. God.
Mom, you're so dumb. My God.
Dumb. Mom, you're going to be you're going to be viral for that stupid comment that you made.
Mom, you're going to go viral.
No, shut up, Mom. Shut up. You're dumb. That's why I was laughing at you back there. I didn't want to be on camera. That's embarrassing.
That's how they say to their parents, Mom, you're such a bitch. Oh my God, I don't like you.
Kyle.
Hey, see, that's how you know. That's how you know the difference. Kaylee,
don't say that, Kaylee.
I don't care what year it is. I don't care if it's the year. I don't care if it started 4896244.
Catlin.
You are not going to be a black child.
Sorry, Ben.
Hey, no, listen.
I'm sorry,
you are not going to be a black child and talk to a mother like what, James?
Mom, you're such a bitch. Oh my God, you're going to embarrass me.
Kyle.
I don't care what year it is.
Caitlin,
you're not going to be a black child and talk to your parent like that. But that's what I see in that video. Here's the thing I see in that video.
Why is this giving me?
Yeah, here's the other thing in that video, though. You got to be really confident to put yourself on international news and say something that, like, she's so confident that she's willing to be seen as a maniac, like ignorant, stupid on the international. Like, you don't talk to a camera and not say something that you don't really mean. So the thing is like, how confident are these people in this conspiracy theory, right? That Donald Trump is going to come back and be president. Well, I got another clip. This one is from CNN. Donnie O'Sullivan. He was at the Trump rally recently. These people are so confident that Donald Trump is going to be president again, that all the way to the point of civil war. Take a listen into this clip.
This is Trump's sort of first big major rally since he lost.
He didn't lose. He didn't lose. I know he didn't lose.
Your shirt here says Trump won.
Yes, he did.
Is this about 2016?
It's about all of them, and 2020, and the next one.
But he lost in 2020, right?
No.
Do you think what happened on the 6th of January was a sort of stain on his presidency?
This was all staged. I truly believe that.
Conspiracy theories about the election and the insurrection are par for the course at Trump rallies. But now, another false notion is circulating among some Trump supporters that Trump could be reinstated as president later this summer.
What are you hoping to hear from Trump today?
I hope to hear he's coming back.
Yeah. Coming back in 2024?
Sooner.
He's coming back soon, and you guys are going down.
Trump has been falsely suggesting that the sham Republican audit in Arizona could lead to the election being overturned.
Stay tuned for Arizona. We need 2 states. It's going to be a very interesting time. How do you govern when you lost? How do you govern when you lost?
You think the election is going to be overturned in some way?
Oh, absolutely.
There's no constitution.
The military already knows it was a fraud. He won by over 80%.
Ron, you genuinely believe that he's
coming back.
That he could come back as soon as
before the middle of August.
And what if that doesn't happen?
Huh?
What if that doesn't happen?
We're going to be in a civil war because the militia will be taking over.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It sounds like they were talking about the coming of Jesus Christ.
It really did.
Soon. Get ready. It was giving that vibe. And these radicals, the people that literally will take a lie, mold it, and still put it out there, they waste time and energy. They waste gas in their vehicles to just congregate together and sit here and feel like when they put this out into the atmosphere, it's going to come true. It's going to be real that Donald Trump, they still see him as their leader. They still see him as president. My thing is, what are they holding on to? Because I know that he ain't here. He ain't around no more. What has he done for you in his absence that he hasn't been the president? What has he done for you as the people while you guys are holding it down for him? It's like, it's ridiculous. It's some weird infatuation, but it also shows how much hate they have for anything better than what we had as America. They hate it. Yeah. They hate the idea of moving forward, because moving forward may actually be what they call diverse. It may be having, or it became having a Black woman as vice president. It became where we had the whole United States of America shaken by the death of George Floyd. And this time they had to listen. With Donald Trump as a leader, those things would have been brushed to the side, and he would have made white nationalists and more racist news. He would have made those policies. He would have said what he would be fighting for. He would have definitely made messages in his press conferences towards those certain people to stand, what was it? Stand down.
Stand by.
Be ready.
Proud Boys.
Yeah, stand by. It would have been those things. And I think that's what these people were so happy about. And they were so afraid of what it would look like without him in office. And now it's really as diverse as they were afraid of. And this ain't even as diverse as it can get. I mean, y'all got a little sprinkle of something that kind of works in your favor sometimes. But you guys are looking at this, what was the past, and are so afraid, or you guys are so afraid, the people who really want Donald Trump, or who believe that he still is their leader, they're so afraid of moving forward in a different America. They just don't want it. They don't want the idea. They don't want to live in that way. They want it to be separate. They want to keep it separate. And they want to keep it white and black. That's what they want. White, black, others. That's what they want. So
yeah.
James, you were about to say something in there about the Jesus. Like they really look at this guy as if he's Jesus.
Yeah, and I just don't understand it. No, I had nothing to say because that's just damn stupid. I just don't understand it. I mean, like, they still holding on you. Like, I want y'all to realize what this man said, that he's coming back. Okay, we hear that all the time, and he's coming back mid-August or whenever. But he didn't say that he's going to be put back in office by Congress, whoever the hell else it is. But they said if not, it's going to be the militia bringing him back into the office. Y'all better listen to these sounds, man. These white supremacist people is crazy as hell. They out here doing all kind of stuff to us. Y'all just watch out.
Yeah, no, you're so right. I don't know where this particularly was recently, and I wish David, if you're watching, if you can grab that. There was a slew. I got that from the white folks in Mexico. There was a slew of white nationalists hitting the streets.
Yeah.
In their I guess KKK outfits or whatever it was, but they were out there and they were marching in the name of whiteness. They wanted to get out there, and this was just a few days ago. They wanted to get out there and have their voices heard, and they did this like in broad daylight on the streets. And it's not. They are out here now. Imagine if Donald Trump was here. We saw what happened in Virginia. And when those people stormed outside with their little tikis and everything,
Charlottesville,
in Charlottesville, Virginia, and they stormed outside with their tikis in the name of whiteness for Donald Trump, and he spoke for them. And remember, that was when he only condemned one side. He was like, "What what about the other side?" And we're like, the black people are the ones getting the issue. Like, are we not? Are we not looking at the same footage? Are we not? But we never. It's never through the same lenses. Those people that you see out there that believe that Donald Trump is still their leader don't look at things for what they are. They look at it from what Marjorie Taylor, that rose, whatever they call rose frames or whatever. They look at it through those rose frames where nothing is real. And they look at it from where Marjorie Taylor Greene, what Marjorie Taylor Greene fed them, not knowing that those people they're starving. But for them, they're being fed this information, and it's enough. It's enough. But they are so famished. They don't even understand that they're becoming more dumb.
Yeah,
they're becoming an embarrassment, and it no longer it doesn't benefit Donald Trump anymore. Like he's still doing him. Like he's still gonna do him with or without the support of these psychopaths. Okay, so I don't know why they go rose-colored glasses. I don't know why they go 6 jobs for this man. I really don't. But the conspiracy theories, believing the conspiracy theories, is ridiculous.
You were mentioning that that protest over the weekend, and I don't know if I want to use the word protest, but it's that white supremacist rally where it was about 150 white nationalists who wore white masks and they marched around the city. They're out here and they are showing the world that they mean what they say. And I think as I'm listening to everything that we've talked about today, y'all, we better believe these white folks. We better believe these white folks when they say they would go to civil war, because they did it before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll do it again.
Rebecca, you're talking about the Rebecca, you talking about the clip from Philly? David's asking.
Yeah,
I think it's a Philly.
Okay.
It might be the Philly clip.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. So yeah, David, if you get that, please pull that up.
Rebecca, you also mentioned Heather Heyer. Like Charlottesville, they will get their militias together because they have them together already. James.
Y'all, the biggest difference is with this is like how the Klan used to be back in the 50s and 60s. It's the same thing, except now they just start without their mask on.
Yeah.
Simple
That's our
as that.
doctors. I say it all the time. That's our doctors and lawyers, honey. Ever since Donald Trump been in place, them people been out here like, I won't serve her. She's black. Or if she does come into this office, I'm going to treat her like the trash she is. In their minds, they treat us less than. I went to the hospital under at the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, treated like trash at the hospital, treated like I was a subject to be tested on at the women's hospital. So, and I had to point that out to them, but I didn't have insurance and I needed the care. So I had to get what I can get. But honestly, like, these people no longer cared. Once he got into office and and you guys, here's the funny thing about it. He made people that look like us, black and brown folks, believe black and brown folks who have businesses. Because he catered to businesses, he made them believe that he was a good guy. If you talk to any black and brown person who has a business and, guys, that was a conversation that I had to stop in Mexico. Right there. That one. The one that I'm about to talk about right now.
I knew that
I was in the swimming pool, swimming my little booty off. I can't swim, so I went from here to here. And this girl, this beautiful young girl saw me while I was just kicking up my feet, but I was going to get her anyway. I was like, let me get a friend. So I was like, hey, she's like, hey. Her guy had came and introduced himself to me earlier. So we were just talking, then he comes in the water. And she was like, are you in politics or whatever? And because I was saying I'm a journalist, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, yeah, she's Mexican, guys. They're both Mexican. And I was like, I'm in politics, but she was raised on the other side of it. She was raised as her father was a big business owner. She has money. They're rich. Her boyfriend came from a little bit of the slums, but him and her together just developed a business, and they're doing pretty well. So they were like, so you're into politics and stuff. Well, Donald Trump wasn't so bad for me. I know it's bad saying that because I said, let me tell you something. As a business owner on paper, of course, he's pulling you guys out. He's saving you guys. But if he would have known that you were the color that you were, if he would have personally known you in that way, you probably would be treated not the way that you think, right? You were a business owner. He was bailing out businesses. He was protecting businesses. He's a businessman. And that he wanted to make sure that he put that on his agenda. So you were safe that way. But if you didn't have a business and you were just little old Mexican you. And he's like, well, I know. And I was like, see, this is where I want to end the conversation. And she was like, I know, but I mean, I was fortunate to, have a business and my parents and the girl, I don't want to have a conversation. We'll get more tequila and let's, just enjoy ourselves because I don't want to do this. I don't. So a lot of people who look like us who have businesses and, saw a benefit from Donald Trump's policies in protecting businesses and getting loans and doing those things. They had something great to say. That's it. But the effect of everything else, of you being black and brown, and the policies that could possibly hurt your cousin and them, your mama, your grandmother, your kids, did you think about that? The people that support Donald Trump and how they feel about you, because they don't see business when they first see you. They see black, okay? And if they see BLACK instead of the hard ER or the hard CK for the Hispanic.
Okay.
Stop playing with me. There's a lot of things that, I had to tell my my ex, because he was a business owner, and he's just like, well, they're not doing anything for me. I mean, they're not doing anything against me. I said, hold on, sweetie. Listen. If they knew how you spoke, where you came from, first of all, you got a heavy ass accent, okay? You black as hell. black. You're African on top of that. And every time a police officer came to my
Why are you
door
like this?
and they saw you, issue. Like, yes, he was purple. And I love my man. I love my man that dark though. But I'm saying though, like, you have an accent. They weren't attracted to that with you. They didn't like that. And then, just because you got a little bit of business money, now you think you popping and Donald Trump is on your team.
Right.
Like, let's talk about it. Me and him literally went head to head on this. But I'm like, everything else, let's talk about what happened with your mom and dad under Donald Trump's presidency.
As immigrants.
Let's talk about it. So, it's a thing, like it's a brainwashing thing, but they think because they financially were pulled through something, that this president was the best for them. I don't care what good the president does. I will always give them that. But everybody in America ain't no business owner.
Right. Yeah. Right. Right. All right. So we've added a layer of complexity to the conversation, because throughout the entire day so far this morning, we're talking about the violence in this country, the threat that white supremacy is to this country, QAnon, the fact that they want to talk about civil war. Brother Mac brought up in the first hour discussing, Georgia brought up capitalism, and Brother Mac echoed it. And now, Rebecca, you're throwing in there that complexity of the other side of it, where people, they got money and they think because they got money that they go along with a lot of stuff that's happening in this country with Donald Trump. Before Donald Trump, I mean, let's just be real. A lot of this happened before Donald Trump. Yeah. Some of those tax breaks that you were talking about, that happened before. Of course, the 2017 tax breaks was Donald Trump. But this system, this economic paradigm has been like this since the 1980s. Like, we've been living underneath this, where the rich are getting richer since the 80s, since I've been born, right? Since I've been alive. So it's nothing new. I want to unpack that complexity with two other stories that we have coming up. After we go to break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Buffalo mayor, the black sister. I believe her name is India Walton, and she is a black Democratic socialist, and she's getting attacked by the candidate she beat, and it's a black man. And the language, Rebecca, that he's using to me, it sounds exactly like Donald Trump. So I think it's going to parallel very lovely with this entire conversation. When we come back, more like it or not, DJ exclusive. Wow. It's in your.
All right, good morning again, everyone. Make sure that if you have not hit that like button, first of all, make sure that you share, make sure that you comment, subscribe, and then if you haven't, go to patreon.com/likeItOrNot, patreon.com/likeItOrNot. Become a patron today, y'all. Let's go.
I'm a little bit naughty, I'm a little bit too concerned, but every part of my body.
Brother Bryce, good morning. Shout out to everybody that is streaming on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you're streaming from. Do we stream on Twitter? Who knows? But shout out to you if you are, man. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Make sure that you hit that like button, y'all, and hit share. Let's get more people to watch this stream and get everything done, y'all. Let's go.
Come a little bit closer. Yeah. Come a little bit closer. Yeah. So all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right.
Afro Puff on Twitch, thank you for your chat. They made him their savior and don't want to be wrong. That's absolutely what it is. They made this man a god and he's not that, and now they don't want to be wrong because he effed up this country. Simple as that. Afro Puff, thank you so much.
Can't take me with you. I'm scared you're gonna blow your fuse. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, I can really start over. Yeah, in the back of my mind.
Kayla, good morning. You know it. Roadrunner, good morning.
My time, because you're scared and lonely. Finally got some closure. Yeah, I can finally start over. Yeah, so all my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right, put your finger right in his face and tell that man bye-bye. I'm too fly. memories. She's who used to be. Friends said that you left me. I'm glad that's what you believe. All my ladies who got a brother that doesn't treat them right. Put your finger right in his face and tell that man.
Listen, you tell that man bye like this. Bye. That's what the gays do. Bye. Bye. Bye, girl. Why am I like this? I'm stupid as hell. Yeah, welcome back, Ben.
You need the nail.
Right, I ain't got the nails. Rebecca got it. Rebecca, go ahead. Sweetie.
Y'all, oh my God, y'all are the most. Oh, you know what I did miss? I'm not gonna lie. What I missed last week more than anything else, there were a couple of stories, y'all. There were a couple of stories that was screaming for Rebecca. It was like, and the Eka part of the Rebecca was out somewhere sipping Mai Tais in Mexico. Well, I did miss that. But
margaritas. Margaritas.
5-star.
Yeah. Come on, 5-star. You a 5-star chick?
5-star. 5-star. Nothing less.
Nothing less.
Let's go.
Papi,
let's go.
Papi, come here, Papi.
And I'll be all right with that. Look, it was a I'll be all right with that.
Live your best life, sis.
Oh man, I've got nothing other than this next clip. Okay, I was gonna skip to the sister from Buffalo, Sister India Walton. We are gonna go to her, but I want to set it off first with this clip from Pastor Greg Locke. He's a favorite on our show because he's extremely animated with his ignorance. He's extremely animated. This the one that did the drop kick for Jesus. Yes. Here's a clip. The first clip we played in the first hour we played, and this is him talking about QAnon. I want y'all to see how far QAnon has gotten. It's saturated even our religious circles. Here's Greg Locke talking about the bloodthirsty pedophiles that have underground railroad tunnels, and it's a mess. Take a look at this clip.
I don't know why pastors don't talk about this stuff. Well, I do. They don't want to seem crazy. I'm already crazy. People are like, do you really think it's that much of an epidemic? Do you honestly believe, I'm going to get some more crazy, do you honestly believe, Pastor Locke, that the military uncovered tunnels beneath the Capitol building and beneath the White House and in the Five-Fingered Lakes, do you really believe that they found kids? Yeah, both live ones and dead ones. And if you disagree with that, and if you try to discount that, and if you try to cover that, and if you try to keep that on the DL, you're just as complicit as Hunter Biden and the rest of them bunch of crack-smoking perverts.
This is what they're preaching in their churches, Rebecca. James, this is Sunday morning.
If you ain't got this man is just, you gay as hell, boy. You better sit down. This man is so gay. Crack smoking pervert. Do y'all believe what? Girl.
Hey, take me off the screen for that part, because I can't be in that conversation. James, put James in the full screen and let him have that conversation so that people can see, because people go clip that clip. Make sure they pan over to the right and they can see your flag.
Man is gay as hell. I ain't gonna say it. You look at this cord over here. That man gay as hell. What preacher, put their hand on their hip like this and just roll like that?
Come back to the 3-shot. Come back to the 3-shot.
What the hell is that?
They be the ones. No, listen. My thing is, I still don't even know. So this is another conspiracy situation right here. He's feeding his flock so much lies. Those people are literally starving, but they're just so dumb that they're taking all this air in. And they're getting really gassy. And every time they let something out, it's dumb, it's stupid, it's equivalent to just, I really, 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 really am shocked that this man, what did he say? Crack smoking perverts was the end of what he said.
Crack smoking perverts.
I really love that he said that. I love that he said that, right? It's in line with the rest of those evangelicals. And how they can go the far, like so extreme when they're supposed to be Christ-like. There's nothing Christ-like about G.I. Jesus. Like there's nothing Christ-like about that man or the other people that we put on this show that are evangelicals who are supposed to be giving their flock something else. And they're not. There's nothing like how he's spewing out nothing but hate.
Yeah.
And they're there for, and this is something I heard Professor Mia Bloom say that I want to latch on to. She said, I don't want to throw them away because she feels like some of them can be brought back from the brink. Do you echo that sentiment, Rebecca, in the sense of, because you framed it well there in terms of the people in the audience. Some of them have come there for whatever you go to church for love, for whatever reason you go to church. Somebody in that audience went there for that, and this is what they got. Do you feel like some of those folks are redeemable, or do you feel like we can't afford to even worry about them because the violence that they're talking about ultimately is going to fall on Black people?
Yeah, we're going to be the ones. We're going to be the targets. Now, listen, I feel that I give everybody grace. That's my, that's just something that works for me. Now, does everybody deserve grace? No. What this pastor is doing, I think, is not redeemable for me in my home. Okay? That's not redeemable for me in my home. I just watched a show on Netflix called Enemies, The Best of Enemies. It had Taraji Henson in there, and she's playing Ann Atwater, I believe. And Atwater,
I think so.
She was an activist. I forget where the location was, but it was somewhere in the Midwest, if I'm not mistaken. But she became, because they needed to integrate a school, and she became somebody on a charrette. And that's at the time where they would put two parties together, one from opposing sides, and for them to just duke it out themselves instead of the city or state getting involved. So Anne sat on the side of saying, listen, the Black kids' school burned down. Go ahead and integrate the schools. Now, the white man, I forget his name, CP, whatever. He was the leader of the local KKK members out there. So he was like, hell no, we don't infiltrate with no Black folks. They ended up actually, so long story short, Anne kept pushing through and showing that man grace. Now, I don't know for me if I could have did the same thing in that sense. But right. Anne kept doing what she needed to do in that sense. And she kept showing him grace, but then she was letting him know. It wasn't on no, like, you know how the movies be like, she let him be white and disrespect her. No, she was showing him grace and saying, hey, listen, you got a lot going on in your life. I got a lot going on in mine, and I'm not going to back down for these Black kids. I'm going to keep fighting for them. But in that same sense, I need you to know if these Black kids go to these schools, nothing ain't going to happen to your white kids. It'll happen to my Black kid before it will happen to your white kid. Okay? But we can't have these Black kids in this school. And this school that's been burnt down, half of it's been burnt down. You know, they're behind on education right now. So I'm gonna keep fighting for that. And she ended up like finding out that he had a son that was mentally ill. And she did him a favor because she knew a Black girl that worked at the nursing office at the home, right? The facility. Did him a favor, put him in an independent care for him in that facility, and he couldn't understand why she kept giving grace. That's because that to me is the heart of people. We don't like. You're taught to be hateful. You're taught to be nasty. Okay. I know as a Black person and as a product of immigrants that I'm different from white folks, but at the same time, I'm not going to turn around and treat white folks nasty just because, right? I'm not going to do that. But these white folks be walking around here like it's just. I'm not going to mess with you because you are Black. I'm not going to deal with you because you are Black. But the way that she did that grace, she gave him grace. At the end of it all, he ended up seeing it, literally did things that his the people that he taught to hate, y'all. He taught, just like these church members or these church leaders, these pastors are teaching their congregation to hate. That man taught a lot of people to hate Black people. He shot up a white woman's house because she was dealing with the Black man. Okay? He sent out other white men to potentially like scare a white woman, and they basically raped her. Okay, so it's like all of this happened. It was just so much that these KKK folks did, but he realized he had to step away from that, and he took an opportunity. He knew he would lose a lot. He said since then he lost a lot. It's like they took away his business, they threatened his family, all kinds of things happened to him. But he said the way that he saw that grace in that woman, and to me, that's what we are. I think Black folks are sitting here to be a light, but sometimes the light has to come in the form of a fist to the face. But that's neither here nor there.
Hello.
I just say this to say what that man was doing was not right. He's leading these people just as the KKK folks lead their people, white nationalists, all of that in one. How they teach and lead their people to be nasty and hateful. There is no togetherness. There's no love in that. There's nothing in that. But shout out to Ann Atwater for having the patience to deal with it. But she was such a fighter. She didn't care who she was talking to. She was walking up in these buildings, talking to these white leaders any type of way. She'd walk up to them and say, turn around, I'm speaking to you. And when I'm speaking, it's very important to any kind of white leader. They were afraid of that lady. So for her to to have compassion for this man that did not deserve compassion, that's a real big deal. That's a real big deal. But Ben, I don't know if they do deserve second chances. Some of them, but some
of them, because giving them a second chance could be deadly for us. Like how many times do we keep going back to offer the benefit of the doubt to a system that has shown exactly what it would do to us? I mean, from top to bottom, you go from the White House to this tent revival. There's a second clip of Greg Locke where I want to play the second clip because I really need people to understand that because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not growing and festering and spreading and being activated and being talked about in chat rooms and being talked about in sanctuaries, being talked about at the dinner table every single day, every single night. There is a contingency in this country that is so confident in their foolishness that they would burn this country to the ground. They really would. And
in the name of a man who ain't even president no more.
Right.
Period. Run the second clip. Yeah. Okay. All right. No problem. Okay. All right. That's fine. The second clip is the one from earlier today. We already talked about it. The Greg Locke video, the QAnon video. Let's run that one.
God's about to bring the whole house down, ladies and gentlemen. These bunch of sex trafficking mongrels are about to be exposed. These bunch of pedophiles in Hollywood are going to be exposed for who they are. I don't care what you think about fraudulent Sleepy Joe. He's a sex trafficking, demon-possessed mongrel. He's of the left. He ain't no better than the Pope and Oprah Winfrey and Tom Hanks and the rest of that wicked crowd. God is going to bring the whole house down. I said he's going to bring the whole house down. He's going to burn the whole thing to the ground. He's going to expose all these bunch of pedophiles. I'm telling you, he's going to expose Kamala Harris for the Jezebel demon that she is.
Wow, Jezebel demon?
Okay, now, come on now. Now, see, I knew. Now, it's a couple of stories out there about, Kamala. At the end of the day, y'all all up in her bedroom, in who she's with and why and the connections. It's a lot of folks out here. Your mama your mama, right? Because she probably was down the street, up the street with cousins and them, and the connection was probably the same. So stop playing. Talking about Jezebel spirit. There's a couple of them in the room right now that you're preaching to. Okay.
Okay. All on.
So, aside from that, that room itself looks very, very Trump rally-ish. They're trying to do the what was it? A crusade? What was that? The reunion outside.
The revival.
The revival of the right wing, ridiculous white folks. I just can't. He literally is preaching to these people, and they're like shouting him down. But even in the way that they're shouting him down, do they know? It just looks very like press button and scream. Like, press button and shout me down. Now sit down.
Yeah.
Like, it's giving, I don't know. There's nothing, bagging feeling. There's nothing that I don't feel, no.
Ain't no spirit in that.
Feeling it.
Ain't no spirit in that.
And
ain't no spirit in that.
All the same thing. These congressmen and senators and everybody just paying this man, hey, just go teach our rhetoric. F the word. He ain't got nothing that you just said came from no part of the Bible. You just made all of that up.
That's how they taught us, though, right? That's how they taught us. That's how they gave us the Bible. That's how they gave us the word. That's how they fed that religion to us. They gave it to us knowing that if we were to read what it really was about, it would be totally different. So they gave it to
totally
us
different.
And how they're giving it to their people now. And that's look at them. They're so dumb. They're a stacker, and they can read. These little dumbasses can read, but they're choosing not to.
And they just in there eating it up, just like, yes, go, yes, Lord, thank you, Jesus. Jesus ain't got nothing to do with that man talking about.
Harris with the Jezebel spirit, my God.
Watch
and they
this.
were like, yeah!
Rebecca.
Oh, Jezebel!
Oh, God.
Rebecca James. Watch this, though. You said it, Rebecca. Rebecca, you said that they have the ability to read the word for themselves, right? They kept us from reading the word for ourselves because they knew. Matter of fact, it's the Thomas Jefferson Bible, right? The Bible where they took out all of the references to justice out of the Bible, right? All the references to liberation out of the Bible, all the references to like people being set free from oppression out of the Bible. And that would be the type of Bible, the only Bible that slaves were able to even possess. But they couldn't even read it. They kept us from reading it because as we read and got that knowledge, there was a level of truth that we got and authority that we got because we realized that what we've been going through as Black people in this country has been so deeply rooted through history because there's something that happens as Black folks. We have they messed around and oppressed us. They should have left us alone. They should have never brought us to this country. They want to tell us to go back to Africa. Y'all made the mistake of brought us here. And now all this black magic, all this black girl, black man, black non-gender conforming magic is too much for them to handle. Their brains are starting to break. At the beginning of that clip, he said, they're going to think I'm crazy. I'm already crazy. Yeah, bruh. You lost it a long time ago because you cannot handle being the incompetent white male, mediocre white male in the presence of so much black greatness.
Facts. You better speak, boy.
And speaking of that, though, Ben, I know this is going to probably be like a strange pivot, but Rachel Nichols of ESPN recently made some disparaging comments about her coworker, Maria Taylor, who also works at ESPN, all because she wanted to cover the finals. And she didn't get the opportunity to do so because Maria Taylor, who was Black, and Rachel Nichols, who was a white anchor at ESPN. And like you were saying, y'all upset because y'all don't put us in position, and now we just, our greatness is gonna shine eventually, right? And no matter how we were enslaved or whatever, we popping out in greatness, the greatness that you guys wanted to keep hidden. So in this space of sports, we know Rachel Nichols is very well known in that space, right? Just like Jemele Hill was, but we know that they've risen Rachel Nichols to a certain point where she just gets to sit somewhere and be that person and go, like just be the face of it all and go. But she made some comments about Maria Taylor, who, again, I said was a Black sports anchor on the show or on the network, basically saying that, the position was given to her for the NBA Finals. The position was given to her because they're looking for diversity. They're running so hard trying to find something diverse. And a lot of people saw that as an issue because she's thinking that because she's white, she deserves privilege. I believe that she's related to Barbara Walters. I don't know if it's Barbara Walters, but she's related to somebody big in the entertainment world, which gave her a leg up. If you ask Maria Taylor how she got there, she's going to say education. She's going to say I pushed hard. She's going to say internship. She's going to say I worked for this. She's going to say my knowledge. She's going to say because I'm qualified. Not to say that Rachel Nichols over the years hasn't become qualified, but I'm saying the paths are different. So the complaining and saying that she doesn't deserve because the network is looking for something diverse, to me is ridiculous. And before she made the comment, she was like, well, she deserves, but she's not coming to take my thing. She's not coming to take what belongs to me. White folks get a little shifty when the qualified come around. When the qualified is a different skin color is now really a big issue. Now it's just because you're Black and the world or the United States is looking for diversity. That's why you're being chosen. Now you're good at everything else, but you're not going to come and take what's mine. So those comments were made. But I want you guys to hear this apology that was given. If you have that queued up, I want you guys to hear this apology that was given, if there was one. But it's what comes after the apology. It's what comes after the apology that I want you guys to see. The defense of two people that I just thought was very strange of Rachel Nichols. And her stepmother is Diane Sawyer. But if we have that video, can we roll that?
In journalism school is don't be the story. And I don't plan to break that rule today or distract from a fantastic finals. But I also don't want to let this moment pass without saying how much I respect, how much I value our colleagues here at ESPN, how deeply, deeply sorry I am for disappointing those I hurt, particularly Maria Taylor, and how grateful I am to be part of this outstanding team.
Well, Rachel, I want to say thank you. Thank you for accepting responsibility for your actions. As someone that has known you for a long time, being around you, you have treated me with the utmost respect, and you always made me feel comfortable in your presence. And I know your heart, great person, great individual. I also know Maria Taylor, great person as well. Very, very talented, hardworking, and I feel like she also deserves every opportunity that is presented her way. My only hope is that we have a commitment overall to support each other through this process and continue to support each other through our journey.
No, I agree with Perk. Let me first say this. I fully support Maria Taylor. I've worked with her since I joined ESPN at Get Up and Countdown, and I've known Rachel for 20 years. Rachel and our entire group here have had some very difficult conversations over this time period, and those conversations don't end here. We will continue to have uncomfortable conversations. No one is excused. She is not excused. I am not excused. Perk. This doesn't just go away, but we have to learn and understand it and become better for each other, and really through our actions more than anything, and that is our responsibility, and we all have a role in that, and that's something that I take pride in, and I hold to myself and everyone to a very high standard.
Well, thank you guys both for being with me here today. Thank you, everyone out there, for being with us here.
Rebecca, you're on mute.
No, I could.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm not on mute for you anymore, Bubba, because I got to make sure you hear me. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You know how I just discussed Ann Atwater, the activist Ann Atwater, giving grace in that moment. Yeah. I don't believe in this particular instance that Rachel deserves grace. It's her relationship within the company. And again, my mistake, but the correction is Diane Sawyer is her mother-in-law or stepmother. That's her relationship. And we know how big Diane Sawyer is for one of these networks.
ABC, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Very big.
Which owns ESPN.
So all she has to do is make a phone call, or all she has to do is say she made a mistake, or all she has to do is say, what was the mistake? But here's my thing. If we look at this, there was never really an apology given. It was just like, Maria Taylor, you're good. I said what I said, and I'm not racist. And here are two big black men on ESPN who could definitely co-sign me.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. Now, as he was speaking, he was like, well, I've worked with her a long time. Is that what I got to say, Master? I worked with her a long, long time, and I like her, and she's good. She's always been good to me, but just because she's been good to you does not mean that means that she's less racist. White folks have their pick and choose. You might be the one that they look at you and say, you're not like the rest of them, right? He's not like the other black people. He's not like that. But just because that person is good to you doesn't mean that they're not a racist. Or just because that person is good to you doesn't mean that they're not using their white privilege to move forward. Maria Taylor deserved an apology. And Rachel Nichols deserved to be removed. Yeah. Definitely. And that's on period. We saw what happened with Jemele Hill on ESPN just because she spoke about her political stances, and that was against Donald Trump. But we saw other men, specifically white men as well, on that network speak in opposition of Donald Trump or speak backing Donald Trump and keep their positions. But Jemele Hill spoke, and it was, politics and sports don't mix. Shut up. Right? Shut up. Lost an opportunity, and then finally decided to get out of there, right? Maria Taylor had the whole community on social media, black and white, say, why is Rachel Nichols still in this seat? Why does she get an opportunity to not apologize? Why did she get an opportunity to save her face? Did anybody else ask Maria Taylor how she felt? Why didn't we get her conversation on here? Why didn't we get the conversation about how racist ESPN can be? Why didn't we get that conversation? Why? What you guys did was save face and bring two big black men in to protect this little old white girl. Right? But no, who was sent to go protect Maria Taylor? Because in all that whole conversation from both of them, it was more said about Rachel Nichols than it was about Maria Taylor. As two black men speaking on a situation that should have been spoken about, the racial issue, the white privilege at play, the disrespect that came out of her mouth, right?
There it is.
They should have been speaking on that, but instead they spoke more so about Rachel Nichols' character to them in that environment than how disrespectful Rachel Nichols, as nice as you've been to us, we can't see you do our sister like that. We need you to recognize that you were wrong, and that was very racist of you to say. She deserves that position, whether she beats you out for it or not. She's qualified. Rachel Nichols deserves to be treated like anybody else would have on that show. If it were any of those two men that would have said something like that against someone else, it would have been a problem. We wouldn't have seen them again. They're interchangeable. They can just pick another big black man who used to play for the NFL and put him in that seat.
Wow. Instead of saying some truth at that moment. And if they had spoken some truth at that moment, then they would have been broken free and they would have had their own narrative to talk about versus just saying, well, I'm going to say what's going to be good for this seat. No, say what's good for your blackness, my man.
Like, you no longer have to walk in that anymore. We were counting on you. What happened when, and here's my thing too, it was believe black women, which is still a thing. I know a lot of sports players who still say that, but I remember when it happened to Jemele, and everybody was, some people were reluctant to stand in solidarity with her, at least in public, because they didn't want their positions to be tarnished, or they didn't want to be feeling like, they were choosing a side in public when their jobs were riding on this. But I feel like in this particular moment, that could have been really big for the network, that those men flipped the script and did something against what the network told them to do. And that was tell the truth and speak from a racial perspective instead of a white perspective and protecting white folks in this moment. She was wrong. And if it was somebody else, it would have been an issue. But because she's so protected in this space, not only because of her whiteness, but because of her heritage within this space, mamas, sisters, connections, all of that. She's protected.
What's his name? Is it Steven Smith? Is he on ESPN as well? that the one that he'll stand?
Stephen A. Smith.
Let's see if they're gonna say anything. Yeah. The one that's out there, no, Kobe Bryant was the best player in the nation. Yeah, him.
I do want to see what Stephen A. Smith has to say.
But he says some things that be wrong sometimes. But that's one man that speaks his mind, though. Some things I don't agree with when he says it, but some things I do. But
at least he's speaking his mind when he's speaking. I really do want to know what he says.
These two brothers right here, I think it was Perkins.
Bandwagon.
I can't do it. I can't. Just me watching that right after, you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't have even known they was in the room the way they framed sister. Okay, the way they framed her, just sitting there like, I said something that was bad, but it wasn't all that bad, and I really don't regret it because I deserve. I mean, she deserves too, but she doesn't.
Can we unpack what she said for a second, James and Rebecca? Because that is the under. I mean, I think this is why you said it was a strange pivot, but you saw the connection clearly to everything that we've been talking about. She got the nerve to question the qualifications of this sister when she there based on the hookup. Y'all see how white supremacy do us in this country? And at every turn we've seen, James, how many times have we been 10 times more qualified for the job? But at the end of the day, they went out because they know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. That's it. I'm just curious, and our parents have taught us, you come back to the 3-shot, that our parents have taught us that we have to be 10 times as good to get half as much. And they, on the other side, have been able to be mediocre as Pastor Greg Locke. Mediocre as Donald Trump. Y'all, is this the best that white supremacy can do? White supremacy. This the best y'all got? That's all I got.
They're going to try to come hard for it. And let me flip it on his head. Let's take it worldwide. Because I don't know if y'all heard the story. We don't have enough time to cover it, but definitely want to cover it tomorrow. They disqualified the Nigerian women's Olympic 4x4 relay team due to a mess up on the goddamn, what they call the cones? The cones or something, yeah. And... everybody's talking about what happened to Sha'Carri was just, it just happened. It's nothing real. This is not a racist moment. Okay, go do some facts, people, and do some reading.
Not only that,
because you'll find out it's more.
Also in the Olympics, right with that story, right with the Sha'Carri story, right with the headpiece story that they're not able to wear their head caps.
The African head caps.
Along with that, Whitney Ashley, she fell short of Olympic dream in discus by a rule change. So USA Track and Field made it official by calling Whitney Ashley to inform her she is officially an alternate in the women's discus. Kelsey Card, who is a white woman, who finished one spot ahead of Ashley at the trials, but has not thrown the Olympic qualifying standard, is going to go instead of her. Okay? Whitney Ashley literally threw the Olympic qualifying standard, which had her in place to go. Then they hit her up and was like, oh, no. We changed the rule, some kind of weird rule. And even though Kelsey Card didn't throw the qualifying standard, she finished a spot ahead of you. So we're just going to put her in. So it took that whole girl's dream away from her.
Simone Biles.
And
she's so talented. She's so talented. They had to change the rules because the white folks couldn't keep up with little sis.
They said that she was doing things that were not supposed to be done. She was doing these flips that couldn't be done. That's because we defy gravity. We're magic. So we literally pull up and we do things that you guys are trying to mathematically place together and things like that. We stopped dancing on TikTok. Y'all didn't know what to do.
Okay. Man, for real.
And this is what I'm saying. Give us our flowers right now. We had, like I said, Kylie put she put braids. She put her face on Tupac and sold that shirt, y'all. Kylie Jenner put her face on Tupac and sold that shirt.
That one pissed me off. That pissed me off.
This right here, all of this is just like, white folks can't do no wrong as long as they steal it from us. White folks can't do no wrong as long as we are not better than them, right? But as soon as we start to show ourselves, because there are a lot of times we go into the room and we make ourselves small just so that we can continue to make it through the corporate struggle. Because if we show how the email was constructed wrong by Catherine, we're disrespecting her. We're
being aggressive. We're being aggressive.
We show how an easier route to do the job, a more effective and easier route to do the job, Billy is going to say that I was an insubordinate. Okay? Now we got a target on our backs. Now, because I got up to go to the bathroom after doing those things to Billy and Catherine, I went to the bathroom for 15 minutes, and then I came back, and now they told me that I was on the clock taking up their time. So now I gotta write up. True story. So all of this, it's like we can't even be in the job space, be qualified, give instructions or something, and not even trying to take your position. Just tell you how you can do this more effective and better, and give you the idea so that you can present it as your own, which has happened like that. Which has literally happened like that. There are so many times that I've been in the space and let these people take my ideas and push them forward as they were their own.
We were in that space together, Rebecca. I mean, not. I know you have other spaces.
But I remember that space
just trying to show people how to do it more effectively, more efficiently, and then get rejected because we're being aggressive.
But then they still do it, but they came up with it themselves. So it's a struggle for us. So all of this, you got these in the Olympics. We're seeing it. We're seeing it do what it's I guess intended to do. Keep Black folks at bay. Now that we're really infiltrating it, like we did basketball, it's almost like they want to find every bit of a rule and to take it away from us. But it's so sad. But what's funny is a lot of these girls are now seeing it like they just like the girl Whitney Ashley. She posted a video and was like, "Well, this is why I can't do it. But tell me how. But tell me how this rule is a real rule. I did all of that work for you guys to tell me that I qualified and to tell me now that you're removing me from that spot to put her on this spot." And she didn't even do the qualifying standard. She was like, "It's okay. It is what it is." She said, "I worked so hard to make it to the Olympics, only for you guys to take it away from me. You know what? I ain't even gonna be mad about it. I know that I'm qualified. I know that I'm skilled. I know that I trained. I know that I'm great." So.
And the bad part about it, y'all, is looking at it last night, is so many more.
Yeah.
Y'all, it's the Nigerian team. I'm hearing that they're disqualifying a lot of sisters for higher than normal testosterone levels. It's really a lot. And these are people of color. Okay, so I want y'all to realize that. Don't say, "Oh, it's not Olympics. It's not just the Black people. It's more Blacks than you realize. The majority of everything that's happening to majority people of color.
Yeah,
boycott the Olympics."
So hashtag. I mean, God.
Rebecca, I want you to get the last word on this segment, and then I'm gonna say something afterwards. And James, I don't think I'm gonna be that long, but James, I know you're gonna schedule. If you got to get out of here, I don't want to hold you. But before we do that, Rebecca, put a bow around all this for us, and then tell the people whatever you want them to hear.
I ain't got nothing else to say. Black folks are great, and they're going to be great. Be as intimidated as you want to be. I want to take and follow in Ann Atwater's footsteps sometimes and give grace where it's deserved.
Yeah.
But then there are times for Rachel Nichols, she gets nothing from me but dust. Okay? Nothing from you but dust. Same thing with Sharon Osbourne. Okay? I don't do white tears. And then I don't do people who are privileged, who sit on their fucking thrones. Sorry, who sit on their thrones and literally will benefit and don't even think that an apology is deserved. Okay, I don't play that, so they get no grace from me. Rachel Nichols gets no grace from me. ESPN needs to shut it down. But Black people, this is another opportunity for me to Black people. I'm speaking to myself in this sense too, to know that you are great. Sometimes your package different. But at the end of the day, when you know you've worked hard for something, when you know that you are qualified, people are going to get upset. They're not going to look at you for who you are. They're going to look at you because they're going to think that you don't deserve. They're not going to look at how hard you worked to get where you deserve to be. They're going to think that you need to work harder. There is no level for you to actually be in the seat and be comfortable because you don't deserve that. You got to keep working harder while everybody else takes the fruit of our labor and makes it business and triples that. Oh, we're not doing that no more, okay? And shame on those two men who sat on the sidelines and sat beside the wrong person in this whole matter. It was sad to see. Anywho, I love you guys. I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Be nice to one another. Be kind to one another. Give grace to only those who deserve. And I love you guys. Mean it. I love you, Bubba. I love you, Ben. Kind of love you, Dwayne. Love you, David. I will see you guys in the morning.
Sitting there, chilling. Okay.
You can't even get inside the club.
You can't even get in.
Oh, man.
Hey, Rebecca.
Oh, man. Love you, Rebecca. Appreciate you. I'm not going to be long. I have to connect everything that I see that's happening here, y'all. We started this morning talking about the protest in New Jersey. The fact that Black people have to literally organize in the thousands in order to get a modicum of justice. But we always talk about it from the Black perspective. I want to talk about it from the white supremacist perspective, because the stuff y'all are putting out ain't that supreme. It really ain't. And we have had to survive your civilization and all of your accomplishments and all of your achievements. We have had to survive them. And we did. And because we had to survive, and because we did survive, we have been able to master things that you look at us and you're wondering how we're able to do the feats that Simone Biles is able to do. It's because it's in her DNA. How are these athletes able to soar far beyond? Or how are these people able to work up the corporate ladder? You think they're diversity picks. No, they're overqualified. Corporate America, we've been trying to show you how to make more efficiencies. You think you're making money now. Have you really talked to Black people how Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune flipped $1.50 and turned it into an entire university? You want to talk about efficiencies. You haven't seen nothing until you've seen what Black folks can do. But yet and still, like that white man in New Jersey who stood on that porch, belly to six pack. White man insulting a young Black man. He had the confidence of his mediocrity. He had the confidence of his mediocrity. And it is the confidence of the mediocrity of white supremacy that will destroy not only this country, but this planet. And it's about time for America to make its mind up. Are you going to continue to stand behind white supremacy, even to the destruction of this democratic experiment? Are you going to yield to the protesters of January 6th? Or are you going to yield to those of us who have not only been fighting for Black lives, but we've been fighting to make a more perfect union all along? It's time for America to make its mind up. That's all I got for today. Thanks so much for hanging out with us this long. This has been a great episode. DJ Exclusive, if you're still there, it's in your hands. If not, we're going to get out of here. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.
That it went down.